That's it. No big deal. All right. The age of Hollywood celebrity is over. I decided to do this video because, well, I'll tell you why I decided to do this video right here. This is why. The Borderlands bombed at the box office as Gearbox CEO responds to backlash. The reason why I decided to do this story is because I realized something. So this movie has a lot of stars in it, a lot of well-known people, and it completely and utterly flopped. I mean, I heard about it. I didn't, and I play Borderlands. I enjoy the video game Borderlands. I have 1, 2, and 3, and I think the episode in space, whatever it was. This had a lot of stars in it, and nobody cared. Absolutely nobody cared. So this bombs, and then you've got stuff like this dingbat this is Sean Astin. He was Mickey, he was Rudy, he was Sam in the Lord of the Rings. And now he's like, I am completely and utterly in for Kamala Harris. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm okay with that. I'm fine. If he wants to support Kamala Harris, I'm fine with that. But he also has come out and said very disparaging thing about Trump viewers or Trump supporters. And when you come out and you're like, hey, I'm going to support this person, and if you support the person I don't like, you're an idiot. Okay, well, you just totally chose sides. It's different if he said, oh, I just came out and I support Kamala Harris, and then move on with your life. But all these stars coming out, and here's from Entertainment Weekly, 40 stars who spoke out against Donald Trump. I'm just going to quickly go down through this. I don't have to read all of them out because a lot of them are unknowns. But you have Cher, Chelsea Handler, Stephen Hawking, who's no longer with us, ironically, Richard Gere, Sarah Silverman, Robert De Niro, Jack Black, Olivia Wilde, Will Smith. When you come out and you're like, I don't like this guy, and right here, listen to this part, right? Okay, now remember, Will Smith had a wife that was cheated on him, and he stayed with her. He said, for a man to be able to publicly refer to a woman as a fat pig, that makes me teary, he told the publication. And for people to applaud, that's absolutely effing insanity in me. My grandmother would have smacked the teeth out of my head if I referred to a woman as a fat pig. And right here, and he said, for me, deep down in my heart, I believe that America won't and we can't elect Mr. Trump. And we did. And what happened? We're bad guys now. Khloe Kardashian, Barbara Streisand, everybody came out. And it's not just that they came out against Trump. They came out against Trump voters. That's the important part. They came out against Trump voters. That's the problem. Because again, if they just said, I'm going to support Harris and moved on with their lives, okay. But this goes back to 2020. How many people here remember the Gal Gadot Imagine song that went viral, where all these stars are just imagine how great a world we could be if you just listen to the government and do what they say. And, oh, that's true. The guy says Stephen Hawking's another passed away voter. Yes, and now he's forever going to vote Democrat no matter what happens. But remember when they came out with Imagine and all this other stuff, and they told you to stay home because of the bug and take the jab and do all the things, and they came out actually yelling at people if we didn't bow to the government and do as they asked. Well, that was the beginning of this downfall. This is from the BBC. Is the age of the celebrity over? They say from the Imagine videos onwards, right up through current day, the famous have been treated with ridicule and anger during these fraught times. But is this really the end of the love affair? Asks Rachel Seige. Just as the history books will consider the time before and after the bug, scholars of pop culture will likely divide their studies into pre and post Gal Gadot's ill-fated Imagine video. Whatever her intentions back in March, Wonder Woman left most people wondering why any of us would want to watch a baffling lineup of celebrities, very few of whom were musicians, warbling along to a 50-year-old song with seemingly no inkling that the lyrics calling for unity might ring a little empty when crooned from enormous mansions. It was tone deaf in more ways than one. 10 days later, the New York Times ran an article titled "Celebrity Culture is Burning," in which writer Amanda Hess explored the idea that one consequence of the global bug might be the swift dismantling of the cult of celebrity. Now, after I read this, I'm going to get to my point, but even the New York Times and leftist-leaning magazines realized we just made a big mistake. These celebrities in Hollywood made a big mistake. Had Gal Gadot really tunelessly lit the touch paper and done away with the very concept of fame, her day job might be as an immortal Amazonian warrior, but the credit cannot lie entirely with her. Rather, Gadot and her clumsy video merely crystallized a moment in time when, grappling with unimaginable circumstances, most of us didn't give two hoots about what a bunch of rich and beautiful people had to say or sing. You look at these celebrities and they're all clearly in compound-style houses. They got walls all around them. They're living in the lap of luxury. So for them to reach out and say, "I understand your pain," is a bit fanciful. With so many things in short supply, flaunting ostentatious wealth became a turnoff. Now here's why I bring this up today, well after the bug, and 4 years later. Because these same people, do you think they feel the effects of inflation? Do you think they feel the effects of extremely expensive insurance through Obamacare? Do you think that they care that you can't afford your electric vehicle and that you can't afford to go green when you're maybe lucky just to have a car that runs from 1992? Do you think they care that you can't afford eggs and milk and bacon and meat for your family and are stuck buying mass-produced crap that is cheap and 70% chemicals? Do you think that they care about that? Do you think they care about any of that before they tell you, oh, one more, and while they live in these gated, rich communities that have no homeless in their area, that have no migrants, illegal migrants in their area, because they have security guards and they have cameras everywhere and they've got these big palatial mansions in gated communities. Do you think that they suffer any of the issues that we out here in the real world might? The answer to that is no. So when they come out, like Mr. Sean Astin here, and say to you, well, just vote for her. It's important we have the first woman president or the first black president or India or whatever, that matters. We need to do this in our lifetime. That's because they don't have any of the struggles that we have out here. And so now when I see this personally, this has 29,000 views on it, or likes, excuse me. This has 29,000 likes on it. But you'll notice something very, very important here. It says who can reply. Accounts Sean Astin mentioned can apply. And he didn't make any mentions of any accounts. So this is his speech to us. He doesn't want to hear from you. He doesn't want to hear you complaining about your groceries. He doesn't want to hear you complaining about your problems. It doesn't matter to him. It doesn't matter that she won't fix inflation, that the bills she signed in raised inflation, that the money printer, yes, has gone burr for a very long time, but it certainly didn't slow down under the last administration, and that's when inflation skyrocketed. Some of your selections when you go to the store suck. Does he care? No. And so he's going to come out and preach to us about not only why we're bad people because we might vote for the orange Cheeto, but how that we're stupid and we're rubes and we're uneducated. while he sits up in his palatial mansion. Now, he may not have a palatial mansion, but I'm pretty sure he's had some pretty big roles. I'm sure he's got a few mil under his belt. And when these people want to tell us how we need to live and what we should think and how we need to vote, that's where I got a problem. Because you notice, I might come out, and again, I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody when it comes to these things. But I might come out and say, me personally, I think you should vote for Trump, and here's why. And I don't think you should vote for Kamala Harris, and here's why. But I'm also not an entertainer. I'm not a guy that's hoping to get millions of people going to watch my movies. You have to play the game a little bit, but to them, it's more important that they tell you how to live and how to think and to do like they do, or you're just some flyover idiot in the middle of the country. And when you do that, it's going to directly affect your wallet and your election. And that's why these news agencies are falling off a cliff and video views are falling off a cliff. And because people don't want to give money to people that hate them. And it's very, very simple. I'm going to talk about the Borderlands thing in a second, but let me get down through this, because it's very hard for a lot of people, like even myself, to say, what made you quit Hollywood? And what really made me quit Hollywood was this particular issue. And it's never come back, because then they want to tell us about the LGHD TV community and that you should let boys be girls and girls be boys, and you need to do this and you need to, and they just hammer us. And when we push back and say, actually, I disagree because it's shut up, you... No. Neanderthal. That you're an evil right-winger. And then, so, okay, then we're on the opposite sides of this battle, dude. I'm on this side, you're on that side. Am I going to give you any money to see you open your fat mouth? No, you should have shut up and just entertained us. You should have just shut up and been an entertainer. But you couldn't do that. You have to express your views on the world and why we're wrong and you're right. That's fine. But I'm certainly not going to give you any money for you to open your mouth and be a pretend person anymore. Because now I know who you are as a real person. See, and that's where Hollywood lost it. That's where Hollywood lost their grip on reality. I don't care who you are as a real person. I don't care. I don't care if you have children. I don't care if you have family. I don't care if you make $100 billion when you make this movie. I don't care if you make $1 million if you make this movie. Do you entertain me? That's it. That's what I pay you for. Are you an entertain me, clown? Entertain me. And I didn't used to feel that way. I liked Robert De Niro in a lot of his movies. I thought he was a good actor. I still think he's a good actor. But the problem is now I hate him as a person. And so now when I look at the person he's pretending to be, what I see is the hello there that I hate. That's who I see on camera. Now, can I go back and watch some of his old films? Yes. Can I set aside my thoughts on the man now? Yes, to watch an old movie. But do you think going forward I'm going to give you any more money? Do you think going forward I'm going to support your causes? And that's where a lot of people are today. Because you see conservatives like Gina Carano and who did the Tim the Tool Man Taylor? That was Tim Allen, the actor Tim Allen. You see how they go after some of these actors and just fire them because their views are different. And you think I'm going to support? You think I'm going to support Hollywood? Let me read down through this, and then I'll get on the Borderlands thing, because it's funny. Because they're getting exactly what they asked for from this crap. The disruption of the celebrity cycle. But it wasn't just about Gal Gadot and pals. The bug disrupted the entire means of interaction between celebrities and the public. There were no more premieres or red carpets, no parties or late-night chat shows. With movie releases, festivals, tours, and filming all canceled, there was nothing to promote. Instead of A-listers were suddenly found magazine covers by National Health Service heroes and David Hockney paintings. While at one point in April, the most famous man in the UK was Captain Tom Moore, a war veteran who raised over $30 million for the NHS by walking lengths of his garden. That's wrong. it wasn't about the carpet and the red carpet. Do you know what it was about? You know what it was about? Hollywood celebrities' narcissism. That's what it was right there. Hollywood celebrities' narcissism. They weren't able to promote their movies. They weren't able to go out of their house. They weren't on TV shows. They weren't doing the normal acting that they did. They had to sit in their house and be a normal human being like the rest of us. They didn't get any love. They didn't get any adulation. They weren't getting attention to that drip, 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 drip of love and attention to feed their narcissistic monsters that are inside of them. And they started to go crazy. And they said, I need to be relevant again. I need to be heard. People need to look at me and see me and hear me. And so now I'm going to go on social media from my living room of my estate and my palace. And I'm going to tell you what to do. And I'm going to tell you why it's important. And I'm going to tell you why you should listen to me. Because I need attention. And they did that. And all of us saw who they really were. Rich, elite people that hate us and hate our thoughts. And the one thing that drove me crazy is I believe, and I may be wrong, I'm just guessing at the name. I don't remember if it was Jack Black. I don't remember if it was Ellen DeGeneres. I don't remember which one it was. But I remember one of them in a now deleted post, because the post did get deleted. One of them said, look, it's not easy for us either. You know, we're trapped in our houses all day as well. We can't go out. You know, I only get my food dropped off when my assistant comes over. They have to mask up. They can't come in my house. They have to drop off the groceries or my dinner at the front step, you know, and then they can't even come in and hang out with me. I know what it's like with my gigantic big screen TVs and my swimming pool and my tennis courts, and I'm just like you guys. And in the meantime, there's a lot of people saying, oh, well, I can't get my groceries. Like, I can't go to the grocery store. It's closed. Or they only let 10 of us in at a time and we have to wear masks. Or we can't go down all the aisles of the store, only areas that have food, so I can't even get clothes. So what to do as a celebrity whose very existence depends on being seen by other people when we are all stuck at home? The answers ranged from Patrick Stewart delivering daily Shakespeare sonnets and Ellen DeGeneres jokingly comparing quarantine in her California mansion to like being in jail, while allegations surfaced about the poor treatment of the regular crew on her talk show during the pandemic. That is what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. Is people feeling like you're in jail in your mansion with your pool and all of that stuff. They got a lot more to read to this, but that's not the point. The point is Hollywood was telling us they don't like us. You better listen to us, pay attention to us, do as we do, but also we hate you. From Screen Rant, Borderlands budget and box office explained how much it needs to make. Now this was before the movie came out. Despite a dedicated fan base, Borderlands needs to make $200 to $300 million to be a box office success, doubling or tripling its budget. With an estimated $100 million budget, Borderlands likely focused on accuracy, action sequences, and a star-studded cast. Do they have the cast here? Cast is what I'm looking for. Here you go. Cate Blanchett, movie star. Kevin Hart, movie star, comedian. Jack Black, musician, movie star. Ariana Greenblatt, Florian Montanou, Jamie Lee Curtis. And they were like, well, we've got some stars in this and it's only $100 million. Borderland bombs at the box office as Gearbox CEO responds to backlash. What happened? A Borderland, the video game, was extremely successful. Why didn't anybody tune in for this? I mean, it's got Hollywood stars. The Mario movie did very well. Sonic the Hedgehog, after they fixed the graphics and the problems, that did very well. Some of the Resident Evil movies have done pretty well. I'm trying to think of all the video game adaptions off the Doom movie didn't do so well. They had The Rock in it. So what happened? It's because these are people that nobody cares about anymore. Or when I say nobody, I mean at least 50% of the population. Eli Roth's Borderlands movie had devastating box office debut amid negative reviews and fan reaction. The film pulled in just $8.8 million in the U.S. and Canada its opening weekend, plus $7.7 million overseas for a global total of $6.5 million. As a point of comparison, the incredibly successful Deadpool and Wolverine pulled in $96 million on its opening day in the U.S. alone. So usually you have to think of it this way. If a movie which cost them, it looks like $145 million, which is the budget at $115 million, and $30 million for the marketing. That's $145 million. If you you get half of the receipts from the box office, roughly. So if it's shown in a movie theater, you get 50% of the ticket cost, and the theater keeps 50%. That means this movie has to break $300 million to break even, because half of that is the $150 million that it cost them for the marketing. This is another massive loss by Hollywood. Why is it that movie after movie after movie is not breaking even? What's the difference between movies today versus the movies back like when the superhero movies were getting $1 billion a pop? What happened between the $1 billion a pop Marvel movies and the Marvel movies now making $150 million? Couple things. DEI in the writing, that's huge. They're pushing the message in the new movies, that's big. They're eradicating the only positions men have, or they're the bad guys, or they're the dumb ones, or the weak ones, and it's the strong, empowered females that are the leads, and the smart ones, and the creative ones, and they're the ones that everything focuses on. And lastly, this is post-bug. This is post-bug Hollywood. And we all know what the Hollywood elites and the people in Hollywood think of us. We now know. And now a lot of people, myself included, probably many of you included, that say, I'm not giving Hollywood my money anymore. And you know something? I wanted to see Deadpool and Wolverine. I wanted to, but I will not. And it has nothing to do with against Deadpool or Wolverine or those two actors. It's because I'm giving Hollywood my money. And some people will say, you know something? I boycott a lot of this stuff, but I really want to see this movie. And so I'm going to pay it. I'm going to break my boycott, and I'm going to go watch it. That's what they're counting on. That's what they're hoping. Bud Light hopes you forget. Disney hopes you forget. Netflix hopes you forget. Tractor Supply, John Deere, Harley Davidson, all they say, well, we'll lay low after the backlash goes away. We'll keep doing the same things that we were doing before that everybody hated, but they'll forget about it and they'll move on. And I think with Hollywood, a lot of us, because they keep putting the message in everything, a lot of us haven't forgotten and won't forget because they constantly remind us how much they hate us and how much we hate them. It doesn't work, and people are not coming back. Hollywood blew it. They've lost probably at least half of they've lost half of their viewership. Could be forever.